Hi. Okay, we're gonna make some turkey soup. So yesterday I put the carcass and an onion into a pot containing my homemade stock. And now we're gonna fish all the solids out and all the bits of meat we're gonna save for the soup and like the skin and gristle and stuff for the doggo. Okay, so you're gonna need a recipe. Here's one. It's very delicious, especially if you follow it. You're also going to want a big old cutting board. This one's bamboo. You can get them made to size on Amazon. And some implements of cutlery. You're also going to want to get you a big ass bowl. This one is Vollrath. Restaurant quality, good stuff. Got several of these. Why am I mentioning all these products? I'm not getting paid because they're good, by the way. Lamson Sharp, good stuff. Victorinox, good stuff. These are made in Iowa. I don't know the name, but they're good. And they're pretty. Okay, so once you've extracted most of your solids into your trusty Vollrath bowl, you're going to want to take your space helmet and put it into your other ginormous Vollrath bowl. And then we're going to pour the contents in to try to get it out. So I'm going to try to do this with the camera. What could go wrong? Here we go, nice and easy. Into the bowl we go. And that's going to catch the majority of the rest of the solids that you might have missed with the tongs. There we go. Heidi ho. Okay, a few left in there. We'll get those out. Then when we lift out the space helmet, there's still going to be some bits in there, so we're going to go with a bit finer strainer here. Something like that, and get that clarified as much as we can. Okay, we have our meat separated. Any clean meat for the soup, and scraps for the dog. All the bones and veggies got tossed. And for this recipe, it's important that you get absolutely genuine Minnesota wild rice. Not the other stuff. Right there. Says Minnesota cultivated. Now I know Minnesota is full of disappointments for many people, but there are a few shining spots, and their wild rice is second to none. So we've begun what I call the two-pot process. So we got our wild rice in here cooking in most of our broth. Because if you try to do it all in one pot, what's going to happen is you put your veggies in to saute. Well, now if you add your rice and your liquid, you're going to way overcook your veggies. They'll just turn to mush. Okay, so the rice is cooked, and we're ready to chop. Hassan chop. I like to use a nice, good weighted Santoku knife. The important thing when you're cooking is the ability to improvise or understand your ingredients. So here's the thing, and I've done 1.5, 2, and 3, but I'm actually shooting for this empty space here, which is about 2.5. This will come to you over the years or months or eons that you cook. So now your staples of soup veggies are your carrots, your celery, and your onions. I always do the carrots first because carrots take a little bit more time to cook than the onions and celery, which can be added all at once. So you got your carrots kind of all disked up, and then I like to take and just kind of make some otter shapes in there too. Just kind of go through them. That way you kind of got like modern art. You got your discs, you got your semi-discs, and you got your random little sizes of pizza. Or pieces. Yeah, pizzas. Don't put pizza in your soup. It's better to have one or two good knives than a butcher block full of cheap stuff. So, as your budget allows, you can add to your knife collection. If I only had one or two, this would be one. This thing is just great for chopping, slicing, anything but fine work. And then for fine work, that would be my second, is the boning knife. Okay, we've got our carrots started there in our butter. And the nice thing about soups is that they're very flexible. I mean, I use the recipe as kind of a guideline. The real chef, of course, is up here. Let's say you don't like carrots. Don't put the bloody things in. Maybe you love turnips. Throw some in. It's soup. It's very forgiving. Not so much with baking. Don't try that on baking. You gotta have your ratios just right. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with a mess. I'm gonna try leaning this against the onion, so we'll have onion cam. You can observe my giganto. Let's see what happens. So, I like to use the heel of the Santoku. Get some nice, beautiful celery slices. Okay, so we got our celeries chopped up, and carrots are sauteing right now. Now we're sauteing in butter. So you gotta watch the heat. You do not want to scorch the butter. Take your second longest spoon, give them a little stir up once in a while. And you want to give those about I'd say 4 or 5 minute head start over the onions and the celery, depending on how big you've chopped them. Time for onions. So when you're doing your onions, first thing you do, chop off the stem end, leave the root. And then I chop them in half and then peel them. And then what you want to do is take your knife and you're going to go all along, evenly spaced, parallel to the onion little radians there. Then once you've got those, then you can come down, and get nice chopped onions. I'll show you in a minute. So we got our veggies going, and now it's time to chop up the turkey that we have reserved from the bird. Good example of what I was talking about. This particular recipe right here, this one, calls for some flour. Now that's obviously for a thickener. I don't care for the taste of flour in soups. So I use, and you're gonna want this, xanthan gum. Excellent thickener. You can use it in sauces, stews, soups. A little goes a long way. Don't dump it straight in. Take some of your broth that's cooking, or even just some water from the sink, and use your immersion blender to make a thickened liquid. Add that to the thing you're cooking and give it a little time with the heat, because the more you cook it, the thicker it's going to thicken. But like for a big old pot like this, like that, I'll probably use maybe 2 or 3 teaspoons of xanthan gum. Okay, it's bubbling nicely. And we're going to let that bubble for a little while. So, some notes. This soup contains cream. Don't put your cream in until the very end. You do not want to boil your cream or milk for that matter either. And the same thing with the turkey. The turkey's going to go in towards the end. I'm only going to let that cook in there about 5-10 minutes because I don't want it to all break down into little shredded little turkey bits. I want chunks of turkey in the soup. So many spices. I ran out of the cracked rosemary, so I had to go to my spice file and get a fresh one there. So a note on pepper. If you're using a pepper grinder, and you should, make sure that you don't attempt to grind your pepper right into the pot, because what happens is the stem will get up underneath the pepper grinder and make it icky. This pepper grinder here, I think is over 50 years old. It was my father's, and somewhere in here it says made in West Germany. That'll tell you how old it is. But this thing has it gets daily use. The Germans know how to make some good stuff, I tell you what. Okay, so we go ahead and grind our pepper into a separate bowl there. A note on salt and pepper. I tend to under salt and pepper. There's salt and pepper on the table. If people want to add more, they can. But this way it's not over salted or over peppered for people that don't prefer that. Also, as far as I can tell, sorry about the abrupt ending. Technical difficulties. I know it's not obvious, but I'm a little new to this. So, you got most of how to make soup. Thanks for watching.